6ix9ine may have been working behind the scenes with authorities the whole time. Stay tuned as we reveal what the FBI leaked. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel.
But to get off almost like he's getting off like he's the police. Like he is the police.
When good relationships go bad.
Texas, I fired everybody in my team. I got no manager, I got no booking agent, no PR, no public. I don't got nobody on my team.
Let's be honest here, if you're a part of a group called the 9 Straight Bloods, you have to really want to be there. Not just be a part of the group, but to be a part of the experience, right? I mean, you more than likely are choosing to be there because they offer you something that you don't have in your other life, whether it be money, power, or just friendship and brotherhood. There's a reason why these groups can be really hard to take down, because they are a group of people who want to stay together. But with 6ix9ine, that's not exactly what was going on.
Booking shows, do not book shows unless I say this show is going to be booked with this person. They will steal your money.
Granted, he was playing a part, he was playing the part. He was even using his rap career to blast out the 9 Straight Bloods and even showing them off in his music videos when he had the chance. But when it came to his commitment to the group, you could tell early on that this was more about him getting famous than him being a part of them. In fact, 6ix9ine acted in such a way that people honestly didn't believe that he was a part of the 9 Straight Bloods. Why? Because he didn't seem the type. Also, the ones who talk the most are the ones who are trying to convince people of something that isn't true. Thus, even when he did come out and confirm he was a member of the group, many people didn't believe it. As time went on, the 9 Straight Bloods did fulfill their agreement to 6ix9ine. They brought him a bunch of credibility, believed or not, and they helped him get his rap career up off the ground and into the various places where the music needed to be heard to get famous. They took their cut of the money, and things seemed to be alright. But this is where things get a bit odd. You see, as the time went on, and as the deal with 6ix9ine made with the 9 Straight Bloods continued to get enforced, it became more and more obvious to 6ix9ine that this wasn't a deal he wanted to be in long term. Maybe it was because of the money that he was losing out on to the group. It also could have been that while he was a part of the group, he didn't feel a part of the group. Or given that it's 6ix9ine, it's also possible that he just felt they were holding him back, despite the fact that they were the reason he was there in the rap world in the first place. It's hard to say. Either way though, 6ix9ine started to act out against the group, mouthing off, disobeying orders, and ignoring them when they tried to help him. The usual relationship drama. Except when you're in a group like this, you don't do regular relationship drama, because the 9 Straight Bloods didn't like that 6ix9ine was disrespecting them like this. So they gave orders to some of their members, including his manager Shotty Jordan, to handle 6ix9ine.
Losing there, homie. Yeah, he gonna give us something. He being real disrespectful, homie, like.
And get him back on the path of the group. This apparently included getting carried off by the group, which failed and came off as a publicity stunt for 6ix9ine's next mixtape, ironically enough, and having him potentially getting taken out if things continue to fall out of alignment. So as you can see, 6ix9ine was in a bad position, and he needed a way to get out of it. He couldn't just go to his friends or fellow rappers because the word might just get back to the 9 Straight Bloods, and he would have been done for. Instead, he likely went to the people he knew could take out the group in full, or at least get them off his back, the FBI. The connection between 6ix9ine and the 9 Straight Bloods.
Nuke and Harv were both found guilty of racketeering, with Harv catching a separate charge for kidnapping 6ix9ine in July 2018.
So to truly understand the conspiracy at work here, we need to backtrack to find out how 6ix9ine connects with the 9 Straight Bloods. Because unlike many other rappers and people in certain situations, 6ix9ine was not a part of this group from when he was young. He wasn't born into it. He didn't have friends or family members as a part of the group, so he wasn't born into the life per se. In fact, for a while, despite having a rough upbringing via the loss of his father, you could say that 6ix9ine wasn't aiming to have that kind of life, which means that something happened in order to tip the scales. That thing was him deciding to be a rapper. Now I know what you're thinking. Hold on. Just because someone wants to be a rapper doesn't mean that they're going to get in trouble with the law or get involved in a street group. That's profiling, and that is profiling, you would be right, as there are plenty of rappers out there right now who don't have ties in any illegal groups. The difference though is that those people had the right people looking out for them, so that they didn't need those groups. But for 6ix9ine, he didn't have that. He didn't have the support group that he needed to stay clean, and thus, he had to be a little more liberal in regards to how he got into the rap world. True, there are many young rappers who make tracks on their own and get into the business through being heard on SoundCloud or in rap battles or certain competitions, and it's certainly plausible that 6ix9ine could have done that. But he didn't. Instead, he decided to do things the street way, or at least his version of the street way. He figured that to get famous in the rap world, he didn't need talent, or didn't just need talent. He needed people with the right influence, popularity, and ability to spread his music. Usually this would mean being part of a rap group or getting a really good manager or agent. Instead, he went to the 9 Straight Bloods. They had been established in New York for some time, and they definitely had the influence he needed to get ahead in the game. The only question was, would they be willing to partner up with him? I'm pretty sure you know the answer to that question. Let's make a deal.
It was just weeks after 6ix9ine testified against his former associates, Anthony Harv Ellison and Aljamiah Nuke Mack of the 9 Trey Bloods.
6ix9ine had the idea to go to the 9 Trey Bloods and get them involved in his music career so that he could get big, have street cred, have protection, and more. But what exactly did the 9 Trey Bloods get in return from 6ix9ine? After all, he didn't exactly have a lot to offer. He wasn't a big name in the rap world, he hadn't made a lot of music yet, he had no money to buy himself their services, and he didn't have collateral to put up to show that he was serious. In a way, the only thing he had was his word that he was going to do this, and that with their help, he could get to where he wanted to be. Usually that wouldn't be enough, but in this case, it was probably because the 9 Trey Bloods saw a lot of potential in 6ix9ine, or maybe more accurately, they saw potential in his position. Because what we sometimes forget in these criminal organizations is that just being able to do illegal things isn't enough. You need to have access to certain things, get certain things, be able to influence certain people. So for a street group from New York, getting access to things outside of the state is not an easy task. But if you're in the entourage of a famous singer, then things get a little easier to grasp. Enter 6ix9ine, who while young, had the perfect cover as a rap artist to get them into various places, territories, and beyond. So the two made a deal. 6ix9ine would have them serve as manager, protection, and give them access to things that they need when possible, and in return, they would use their influence and cred on the streets to further his rap career. Furthermore, they would get a cut of his profits in terms of concerts, music making deals, and more. Considering all they were going to do for him, that sounds like a pretty good deal, which 6ix9ine agreed, and so they started off on their adventures together, which should have been easy and fun, until they weren't. Did you want to win any of these items on the screen? If so, be sure to watch the whole video, leave a like, and comment the hidden message. And with that being said, let's get right back into the video. The bust.
They both are looking at years behind bars. 6ix9ine was famously arrested in November 2018 and turned state's witness a day later.
So now we come to last year, last 2018, where 6ix9ine and various members of the 9 Trey Bloods who could be arrested were arrested. They were brought up on various charges, including being part of an illegal enterprise, distribution with intent to commit violence, racketeering, and much more. But the problem that many people are having with this equation is, how did 6ix9ine get arrested if he was the one snitching on the 9 Trey Bloods in the first place? Usually, when someone comes forward and deals with federal authorities, they're granted immunity for testimony, as long as they give the authorities everything that they have, or at least that's how it's portrayed in certain TV shows. But that's not always what's happening. Sometimes the authorities are willing to wait to make their move to ensure that the criminal doesn't just walk free in order to skate jail time and rat out their buddies. Most times, they'll take the trade, but sometimes they won't. The FBI no doubt knew that 6ix9ine was not only shifty, but he was unreliable. Not to mention, he has a rap sheet that was taller than he was, and he's over 5 feet for the record. So it's not like he was a model citizen that just so happened to get wrapped up in all of this. He was guilty. And so if he wanted to get out of this with the cleanest bill of health possible, he would need to take a hit with the bust, which is what he did. Not to mention, 6ix9ine is about his image above all else. That was part of the reason he joined the 9 Trey Bloods, to give him that street cred he didn't have on his own. So if it came out that he was working with the FBI in the first place, he wouldn't just be a rat, he would be a traitor of the highest order. But instead, he just got arrested, would serve a year or so in jail more than likely, and then would rat out on the others so that it would seem like he was just doing self-preservation instead of making sure that every one of his enemies got arrested. Perception is everything. Which of course leads us to the plea deal. Why even think this way at all? I'm sure some of you are thinking that this is some crazy conspiracy video or something of the like. And to be fair, yeah, it kind of is. But when you view this case as a whole, there are a lot of things that just seem to be too coincidental, to the extent that it just seems like things were planned out in advance. And when you think about certain events in our world, there are times when you think just that, you know? Like with JFK, Tupac, or something else that we're told makes sense. But something you see or hear or feel just doesn't add up with what's being told to you. That's kind of where we're at right here. Could these theories be wrong? Absolutely. But the thing about discussions about difficult topics is that you need to hear things from all angles in order to fully understand the truth. And the truth is most definitely what we're going for here. The truth about 6ix9ine, what he did for the 9 Trey Bloods, and how the FBI was able to so effortlessly get 6ix9ine to roll over on the people that he supposedly had a close connection to. No, really. Think about this from the perspective of someone who knows the case somewhat loosely. How is it that the FBI went from having no case against the 9 Trey Bloods to having something so solid that they could arrest a whole bunch of their members in virtually no time flat? And then when things get a little dicey, they get 6ix9ine to flip on his crew to get testimony and even more evidence presented to put them all away. And in exchange, 6ix9ine only gets about a year of jail time. That seems kind of fishy, don't you think? But of course, the best conspiracies all start with the single question: where did all of this start? The enemy of my enemy. Now I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, well, come on. It couldn't have been that easy for 6ix9ine to go to the FBI and get them to go after the 9 Trey Bloods. No way, you're right. It couldn't have been that easy, but it also shouldn't have been easy. The FBI is incredibly busy and they get tips all the time that turn out to be nothing. So 6ix9ine would have had to prove himself in a variety of ways to ensure that he was taken seriously. But given that he was in New York for a while, he likely knew that the group didn't fear the cops because they wouldn't have the time or the resources to try and take them all. But the FBI, who was built for this kind of thing, that's another story. A story with a couple of twists along the way. So the second question after, would they do it, because we know they would be, what could 6ix9ine provide to them in order to get them busted? Now that part we already know. Information. 6ix9ine was a part of the 9 Trey Bloods for some time, and because of that, he knew their operations. He knew exactly what they were doing in terms of illegal contraband and the enterprises that they were trying to be a part of or building up from the ground up. Now usually that kind of testimony would be enough for a sting or a raid, and maybe they would get a few members in the process. But the FBI wants more than that, and that wouldn't save 6ix9ine from the wrath of his former crew. So they had to do something big. They had to make sure that they not only got them arrested, but got them off the streets and into jail for a good amount of time. They needed to do this the long way. Evidence, warrants, more evidence, and then a big bust. Which of course meant that 6ix9ine would be out in the open until that point. But that's what he needed to do in order to get out of the mess that he was in. If he just straight up left, they would get suspicious. And if he suddenly changed his attitude, they would ask why that happened at all. He had to play it cool as a cucumber until the FBI was ready to bust them. And that happened in November of 2019. Reading between the lines.
You gotta read in between the words. He basically admitted to the crimes he took part of.
Now you might think that we extrapolated just a little bit to try and connect the dots, but there's more than one way to connect the dots. Sometimes you just need to read between the lines to see what's really going on and what mysteries need to be unraveled. Did 6ix9ine start snitching on the 9 Trey Bloods before 2019? We likely won't know until much later, but the facts remain as they are. The 9 Trey Bloods got pinched, 6ix9ine became a rat to get out, and he might be released before the end of the year. That doesn't just happen overnight. That takes planning, sometimes years of planning. I'm just saying, the perfect plan. So with all of this in mind, did 6ix9ine align his relationships with the government to make him untouchable? Just think about it. He played a role on both sides, the gang and the FBI. He benefited from the 9 Treys by using them to create the illusion of a hardcore gangster for his rapper image, and used the FBI to protect himself from something like the current situation he's in. Now you may be thinking, 6ix9ine would never be capable of creating such a calculated plan. But if you think about it, 6ix9ine has done some very genius things to better himself. For example, his marketing and approach to the charges against him. He may come off as a very dumb dude, but to be honest, I wouldn't doubt he considered every possibility before committing to his role as a 9 Trey member. And on top of that, Tekashi has gained a lot of popularity because of the FBI bust. So his return to music will be closely watched by virtually everyone. Not only does he know he won't be in prison for a long time thanks to his plea deal, aka snitching, but he already used the 9 Treys for what he needed. He gained all the attention and the fame he needed, so in a sense, 6ix9ine no longer needs them to further his rap career. The impact was already done. He played his role right with both sides, and he might just win. And there you have it, an alternative look at what might have led to the case against 6ix9ine and the 9 Trey Bloods, and why it played out like it did. Do you see the logic in some of the things we explained? Do you think that any of these theories track with what happened in the case, and so on? Or do you have another theory as to what went down with 6ix9ine and the 9 Trey Bloods? If you do, let me know in the comments down below. Be sure to subscribe. I'm King Trending, and I'll see you next time.
A simple reminder on how to enter our brand new giveaway. We will be giving away either an iPhone X Max, the new iPad mini, or a MacBook Pro. It's really your choice. So be sure to leave a like, comment the keyword, subscribe, and turn on notifications to enter the giveaway. It's really that simple. Go for it.